Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
Right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin.
Who's really winning this war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? The powerful smear machine is still going, but what's really crazy is this new person she hired. We got a lot to discuss.
Well, it looks like things just took a wild turn in Hollywood. According to multiple online reports, Blake Lively's lawyer has reportedly dropped her like a hot potato, right after Justin Baldoni's team allegedly revealed a fresh batch of shocking receipts that no one saw coming. Sources claim that once Blake's lawyer got a glimpse of the evidence Justin's side was preparing to release, they didn't waste a single second. They allegedly backed out faster than Blake could say, "It ends with us." And honestly, who could blame them? No high-profile attorney wants their name tied to a messy public case that's built on uncertainty, tension, and rumors that just won't stop swirling. This move has everyone talking. What was in those supposed receipts? And why did her lawyer really walk away?
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie.
Well, it looks like things are getting a whole lot messier for Blake Lively. According to several online sources, Blake didn't just allegedly twist the facts in her lawsuit. She may have also misled her own lawyer about some important details. Reports claim that her attorney was left under heavy pressure from all sides once the real story began to unfold. Insiders say Blake allegedly made her lawyer's job nearly impossible, constantly questioning her abilities, throwing subtle insults, and even making excuses when it came time to pay. Imagine doing that to the person who's supposed to defend you in court. It just doesn't make sense. It's safe to say this entire case is turning out to be more dramatic than a badly written soap opera. After Blake filed her lawsuit against Justin, Baldoni got initial support from major media outlets. She probably thought she had already won the public over. Her lawyer, Meryl Konan-Giske, might have thought the same at first. But that was before Justin's team reportedly released a new batch of evidence that completely changed the narrative. Those documents allegedly challenged every major claim Blake had made. And once the public saw what was in them, everything shifted. The same media that once praised Blake and Ryan Reynolds started to pull back, and public opinion turned from admiration to doubt. Suddenly, the golden couple image started to crack. Behind the scenes, things were even worse, according to sources. Meryl eventually stepped away from the case after realizing how many holes there were in Blake's story. It wasn't just about weak evidence, it was also about the alleged mistreatment she faced while working with Blake. The tension, the pressure, and the constant drama became too much. And now, as more pieces of this story come to light, fans are starting to wonder what's really going on behind those picture-perfect Hollywood smiles. Because if these reports are true, this case might just expose a side of Blake Lively the world has never seen before.
Days ago, William Morris's CEO, Ari Emanuel, made it seem like a moral act of loyalty, like that exists in Hollywood. He heaped praise on Ryan and Blake as soulfully beautiful people, flawless, really. He mocked Baldoni in the process. He said, it's an effed up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. Now, he said Lively and Reynolds are good people. They've been in the business for decades and have never had any bad press about them, and all the people that work with them like them. Okay, he must not have the internet.
Now, y'all already know that Blake Lively has a bit of a reputation in Hollywood. Over the years, there have been plenty of whispers and online discussions suggesting that she's not exactly the easiest person to work with. Former colleagues and even a few resurfaced interviews have allegedly shown her making comments that some fans found snarky or dismissive, the kind of moments that spark endless debate online. When those old clips and interviews first started circulating again, Blake's team reportedly tried to clear the air. They said her humor was often misunderstood, that she has a dry or sarcastic way of speaking that doesn't always translate well on camera. Others claimed she's simply shy and sometimes says things that come off the wrong way. And for a while, people accepted that explanation. But as more footage and behind-the-scenes stories began to surface, it became harder for the public to ignore the pattern. Fans started asking whether this was just a case of being misunderstood, or if it pointed to a deeper issue with how Blake handles people around her. Some online commentators have gone as far as to suggest she lacks a certain self-awareness, saying her tone and attitude often come off colder than she intends. At the end of the day, no one can hide their true personality forever. The truth, or at least the perception of it, always finds a way to come out. And now, with so many stories and clips being shared again, the world is starting to form its own opinion about who Blake Lively really is behind the Hollywood spotlight.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
And these, they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you, thank you.
Are
You
you
like the
like-
movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so like visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I mean, how do you even explain this one? In one resurfaced interview, Blake was asked a serious and heartfelt question how she would want fans to approach her if they wanted to share their own personal experiences that connected with her character in the movie. But instead of answering with empathy, Blake allegedly turned it into a sarcastic moment, even cracking a joke about location sharing. The interviewer and audience didn't quite know how to respond. What was meant to be a conversation about awareness and healing turned awkward. And that moment quickly made its way across social media. Fans were divided. Some said Blake was just trying to lighten a heavy topic, while others felt her tone came off as cold and insensitive, no matter how you interpret it. Moments like these are exactly why so many people are questioning Blake's public image right now. Because when the topic is that serious, even one misplaced comment can shift how the entire world sees you.
Blake, I'm going to start with you. Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could. I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
Even her co-star couldn't hide his reaction in that moment. He subtly rolled his eyes and looked visibly uncomfortable after Blake made that comment. And honestly, that reaction spoke volumes. But then again, should anyone really be surprised, there have been long-standing claims from old interviews and fan discussions suggesting that Blake hasn't always been the kindest to her castmates. Some resurfaced clips from her Gossip Girl press days allegedly show Blake making questionable jokes about her co-stars, even turning personal stories into punchlines that didn't sit well with viewers. Fans have pointed out moments where she reportedly mocked or teased her colleagues in ways that came off as mean-spirited rather than playful. Now, to be fair, context can sometimes get lost in old footage. Tone, timing, and editing can make things look worse than they were, but one thing's for sure, a growing number of people online are saying that Blake's so-called sense of humor might actually be masking a deeper attitude problem. And the more these old moments resurface, the harder it's becoming for her team to explain them away.
There was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies, and it's frenemies. Is that the new term, frenemies? Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway. Good moment by me.
Remember Savannah.
It was another promise was no pet monkey. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe? That is important. Very good.
It's very important.
This is wardrobe.
This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and like slip them cash to wear it today.
It's not like the whole being born in prison story with some secret Leighton Meester herself has openly discussed that part of her background multiple times. But even with that being public knowledge, many fans couldn't understand why Blake Lively felt it was appropriate to make jokes about something so personal, according to old reports. And behind-the-scenes whispers, Blake and Leighton's relationship off-camera was never as picture-perfect as it looked on Gossip Girl. Sources allegedly claimed that tension between the two actresses was so strong that other cast members sometimes felt pressured to pick sides. On screen, they played best friends. But in real life, that friendship never seemed to exist. Some people have chalked it up to personality differences, Blake being more outgoing and media, while Leighton preferred to stay quiet and reserved. But when you rewatch those old press interviews, it starts feeling like something much deeper was going on. The awkward energy, the subtle jabs, it all hinted at a rivalry that ran far beyond simple personality clashes. And it seems that same dynamic may have carried over years later. During the production of it ends with us reports circulating online alleged that Blake's so-called mean girl energy resurfaced again with claims that she tried to control creative decisions and influence others on set. Some insiders even suggested that Blake wanted more control over the direction of the film, occasionally making script changes or creative adjustments without the director's knowledge. Things only got messier when Blake filed her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. According to online speculation, there were immediate red flags in how the situation unfolded. One of the biggest talking points was how quickly major media outlets seemed to publish pieces supporting Blake's side of the story. For example, the New York Times ran an article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine," almost immediately after the lawsuit was filed. And people online couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. Fans began questioning how such a detailed, fact-checked article could have been written, edited, and published so quickly. Some believed that the piece might have been in the works beforehand, while others thought it was just a coincidence. Either way, the timing was suspicious enough to fuel speculation that Blake may have been coordinating with certain outlets to shape the narrative in her favor. At that point, the court of public opinion started to turn, and what began as a legal dispute quickly exploded into a full-blown media storm.
Justin Baldoni has spoken out against the New York Times in newly obtained court documents, and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Baldoni has stated that a jury must decide if the New York Times is responsible for its involvement with his ongoing legal battle against Blake Lively. In court documents filed on Friday, March 14th, Justin Baldoni has stated that the New York Times has long presumed itself beyond accountability, not here, and that the New York Times went past merely reporting. He then went on that the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative by publishing Blake Lively's complaint in full, and that the fair report privilege that the New York Times seeks to hide behind does not protect it from liability for maliciously colluding with Lively and her cohort to publish a false and defamatory hit piece about the Wayfarer parties, wrongly casting them as villains and making them scapegoats for Lively's well-publicized media missteps. The New York Times responded in a statement to us, stating that the flaws in the Wayfarer Baldoni case were made clear last week in their own legal filing when they asked the court for yet another opportunity to amend their complaint to try and make it legally sufficient.
It just didn't add up. When the New York Times article dropped, a lot of people online immediately called out what they saw as major ethical red flags in journalism. If you've read it, you probably noticed what many viewers pointed out. The tone seemed heavily one-sided against Justin Baldoni. From the very first paragraph, it read as though the verdict had already been decided and Justin had somehow been found guilty in a courtroom, even though the lawsuit had been filed only hours. Earlier, critics online called it irresponsible reporting, or worse, an attempt to shape public opinion before any facts were even presented in court. Ironically, the piece itself talked about Hollywood smear machines. While many readers felt like that's exactly what the article was doing in real-time. To make matters worse, several reports claim that Justin, his business partner Steve Sir, and Wayfarer Studios weren't even given the chance to respond before publication. And when you're dealing with something this serious, that's not just poor journalism, that's a total failure of balance and fairness. Some social media users even went so far as to label it career sabotage, dressed up as reporting, so it's not surprising that Justin allegedly didn't wait too long before firing back. He reportedly filed a $400 million lawsuit against the New York Times, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of spreading what he described as defamatory statements. And honestly, the impact of that first article was huge. Because when something that powerful hits the internet before the facts are out, it sets the entire tone of the conversation for a lot of people. That story shaped how they saw Justin before he ever had a chance to speak. It's like announcing someone's guilty before they even step foot in court. No matter what they say afterward, it's almost impossible to change the narrative and to make things even murkier. Fans have been side-eyeing some of the details in Blake's original lawsuit. Observers noticed that certain parts of the supposed evidence, like screenshots and HR complaints, had important sections redacted or blurred out. Many questioned why timestamp dates and full message threads were missing. To critics, it came across as if only one side of the story was being presented, the side that made Blake look innocent and Justin look guilty. Whether that was intentional or just poor legal strategy remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, this entire situation has raised some serious questions about truth, power, and how fast public perception can be manipulated in Hollywood.
What are the dates of these HR complaints? Do you know the dates?
There's no dates. The dates are redacted. The names of the complainants are redacted, except for on one of them, there's an M. And in Blake's original, when she went to Sony, and by the way, they're not to Wayfarer Studios, Justin's company, they're to Sony, the distributor, to their HR department, and there's an M in there, which means at least one of the other ones came around the same time, if it's May, unless it was March, but probably May, same time as Blake.
And wouldn't you know it, it didn't take long for things to start falling apart for Blake. According to online reports, once Justin Baldoni's team began sharing behind-the-scenes clips and alleged screenshots of text exchanges, the entire narrative began to shift. The so-called solid case that Blake had been building started to unravel piece by piece, right in front of everyone's eyes. Sources claim that Blake's team is now scrambling behind closed doors, allegedly trying to open talks with Justin's legal representatives about a possible settlement. After all the chaos, the public backlash, and the hit to everyone's reputation, it seems like the remaining members of her legal team have realized they might be fighting a losing battle. And honestly, it makes sense. When the evidence starts pointing in a direction that doesn't favor your client, and when the truth starts poking holes in the story, sometimes the smartest move isn't to keep swinging. It's to step back, regroup, and try to end things quietly before even more damage is done. If reports are true, Blake's team could now be exploring that exact route, hoping to reach an agreement behind the scenes and keep the rest of the details hush-hush. Because when you've been accused of twisting facts and misrepresenting details from the very start, there comes a point where even your own team starts asking whether it's time to retreat or to finally come clean.
I looked through every document, every email, every text message, listened to stories, listened to the history of what he's been through, listened to voice notes, and really try to evaluate, the strength of the defense of the case. And frankly, in this case, the strength of his claims. And like a lawyer is obligated to do, really want to make sure that I go through, as much as possible to really understand what exactly happened, or at least what it seems like happened.
But here's the twist. Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, reportedly isn't even entertaining the idea of a settlement. It's not on the table, not up for discussion, and definitely not something he's going to sleep on. According to Friedman, there is simply too much at stake to sweep this under the rug. In a recent appearance on the Town podcast with Matthew Bologna, Friedman broke down why Justin is standing firm. He explained that the accusations have allegedly caused serious harm, not just to Justin's career and finances, but to his mental health, emotional well-being, and even to his family. Friedman said this isn't just some Hollywood circus that can be resolved with a few checks and quiet apologies. The damage has already been done, and no amount of money can erase it. He even questioned out loud, how do you put a price on someone's reputation? How do you put a dollar sign on years of hard work, lost trust, and the emotional toll it's taken on an entire family? According to Friedman, the only way Justin can find any real sense of justice is by taking this fight all the way to court, letting a jury hear both sides and decide for themselves who's telling the truth and who might be using influence and power to shape a narrative. And honestly, it's starting to look like things are crumbling fast on Blake's side. Sources close to the situation say even Ryan Reynolds reportedly wants nothing to do with the legal mess. He's allegedly asked to be removed from all lawsuits connected to the case, basically saying, "This isn't my battle, So why am I in it?
Brian Friedman rips into Ryan Reynolds and his motion to dismiss. I was waiting for Brian Friedman's response to Ryan Reynolds now wanting out of the lawsuit, and we finally got it. Friedman told TMZ Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible. He goes on to say his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. Mr. Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable claims to hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. After lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make a light of his current situation, but we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. I love that Brian Friedman is not afraid to speak his mind, speak the truth, and I love how much he defends Justin Baldoni. Obviously, I know he's Justin's lawyer. He's getting paid probably really good money, but he really goes and fights for Justin. And I agree with every single word that he said.
So what do you think? Will Blake Lively actually be able to find another lawyer brave enough to take on this chaotic case? Or could this really be the end of the road for her legal battle with Justin? It's honestly starting to look like the walls are closing in, but we'll have to wait and see how things unfold. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below because this story just keeps getting wilder with every update. And don't go anywhere, because the next video breaks down even more shocking details about how this drama could completely change Blake's future in Hollywood. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.